मत हो जी परेशान, करो जी माथा पच्ची, निकलेगा समाधान, करो जी माथा पच्ची। अब छूटेगी जान, करो जी माथा पच्ची, मत हो जी परेशान, करो जी माथा पच्ची। मत हो जी परेशान, निकलेगा समाधान, अब छूटेगी जान, करो जी माथा पच्ची।
माथा पच्ची।
माथा पच्ची में आप सबका एक बार फिर स्वागत है। और आज हम डिस्कशन वहाँ से कंटिन्यू करेंगे जहाँ से हमने पिछली बार छोड़ी थी, क्योंकि हमने वर्ल्ड सोशल वर्क डे के बारे में डिस्कस किया था, हमने उसकी थीम के बारे में डिस्कस किया था। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि जो इस बार की थीम है दैट्स अ वेरी हैवी थीम एंड वी नीड टू डीकंस्ट्रक्ट इट। हमें उसके हर एक पहलू को ध्यान से देखने की ज़रूरत है। तो इस बार की माथा पच्ची शुरू करें।
अवश्य।
मेरे साथ फिर से मेरे पापा डॉक्टर पी के वाजपेयी हैं। इनके बारे में आपको पिछली वीडियो में पता चल गया था। तो अब हम आगे की माथा पच्ची शुरू करने वाले हैं। सो इफ़ यू डोंट रिमेंबर, मैं एक बार फिर से इस साल की 2022 की वर्ल्ड सोशल वर्क डे की थीम को बताना चाहूँगी, जो कि है को बिल्डिंग अ न्यू इको सोशल वर्ल्ड, लीविंग नो वन बिहाइंड। तो ये इस बार की वर्ल्ड सोशल वर्क डे की थीम है और इसी को हम स्टेप बाय स्टेप डीकंस्ट्रक्ट करने की कोशिश करेंगे। सो शुड वी स्टार्ट?
या
ओके। तो सबसे पहले जो इसका पहला शब्द है को बिल्डिंग, मैं उसके बारे में बात करना चाहती हूँ, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है जब हम को बिल्डिंग की बात करते हैं इसका मतलब हम सारे मिल के कोई चीज़ बनाएं।
यस।
सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट बिल्डिंग समथिंग टुगेदर, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट गोइंग समवेयर टुगेदर, मुझे लगता है कि हम उसमें अंडरटोन्स में एक कॉमन गोल की भी बात कहीं ना कहीं कर रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल
कि अगर हम कुछ चीज़ साथ बना रहे हैं तो दैट मीन्स एंड रिजल्ट को हम एक समान देख रहे हैं, हम सबके लिए वो एंड रिजल्ट सेम देख रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल ठीक है।
बट एज यू टोल्ड इन द लास्ट वीडियो, और जो हम सबको पता है कि हमारी सोसाइटीज़ जो है वो बहुत हेट्रोजनस है। देयर इज नो होमोजेनाइटी इन आवर सोसाइटीज़, दे आर एसेंशियली हेट्रोजनस एंड वी शुड रिस्पेक्ट दैट प्लुरैलिटी। सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट को बिल्डिंग एंड व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट essentially talk about having a common goal, does it go with the heterogeneity of that society?
No, co-building means the onus goes to the social work community or the anyone who can join hands to build up the society or who has got responsibility to build up the society afresh. So this is for about workers, this is for about professions, this is for about polity, this is for about politics, this is for about our lawmakers and everybody who is concerned with giving society a new direction. So actually the problem is that most of our societies, as you told, rightly heterogeneous, or we should say they are divided society. We have constantly growing into a divided social fabric. And this divided social fabric is also reflected in governance, in politics, in administration, in NGOs even, because they are taking place on religious basis or communal basis or so many other dividing factors are there. We can build up later on to this. Issue is that this co-word is very important. Whether we are ready to come together, whether we are ready to pool our minds and thoughts together, whether we have any mechanism to put our all efforts in common direction, in common towards a common goal. And if it is so, I think there must have not been this theme for this year's Social Work Day. Actually, this is lacking, and this Social Work Day has not proposed any framework for developing a common framework whereby people from all professions, people from all walks of life, people who are at the helm of affairs, people who are in the governance, in the polity, and everywhere are in the leadership position should join their hands and pull their minds together to build up a new economic and social order, and that is most importantly required. So this is about the doers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this theme is for the change makers, for social workers, for people who are in power, people who are in who have the power to do something.
Yeah, and the World Social Work Day has forever have a very crazy, or to say very catchy theme. Sometimes it is making a difference, sometimes making a new society, sometimes we are because you are, and something like that. So crazy themes don't work until and unless you back it with some solid framework of action. And I think somewhere it should be worked on, because this is missing.
Okay. So you talked about social work day themes, and I have a list with me. So I would just like to tell you what the themes were for
Yeah.
different social work days. So I think when we talk about social work day, what I observed in these themes was
Yeah.
they are essentially talking about a similar idea. So even if we talk about last year's theme, which was an African word, Ubuntu,
Yeah.
which also means that we are building relationships. I am because we are
Yeah.
strengthening social solidarity. Then when I talk about the theme for 2020, it was promoting the importance of human relationships. Then if I move back to 2017 or 15, it is again promoting community, promoting dignity among people. So I don't.
It is similar.
Yeah, it is very similar. So I
Yeah.
don't see a very vast difference in the themes.
So, social workers are known as change agents.
Yeah.
And the business of social work is all about change making. So that is there. So we consider ourselves as change professionals, change makers. So the issue is that you make a change differently, I make a change differently. There is hardly any unity in goals, unity in action, and unity in course of program implementation and all that. So that is what is needed, and I think this year's theme is indicating towards that. Let us come together. Let us, the social workers from all states, are leaders, world leaders of all states, are all sets of professionals should come together to build a new economic and social order, I think.
Okay, so is there a check mechanism? Like, is there जिसको कहते हैं बही खाता पूरे साल का कि actual में क्या हुआ है?
Yeah, that is there, but that is account of programs taken by this institution or that institution. If you go on and you peruse on the site of IFSW or IASW, you will find that this institution had organized this much of programs, this institution has organized this much of programs, and this is a list of programs only. We don't have any mechanism that we could see that whether any real work are at the micro level and or macro level or meso level has been experimented or worked on, and what are the results. So this is about celebrating, so the celebratory mode would not work at the ground level.
So I think a good way forward would be to move beyond academic
Yeah,
discussions.
yeah,
To move
yeah.
beyond conferences and seminars and
Academic discussions are good, but they should be they should lead to the action.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they are not leading to the action. They are limited to the celebratory part only.
Yes. So we are talking about building, co-building a new eco-social world.
Yeah.
So very quickly, if you can tell me why we are talking about building a new world, and this new also is a very common thing with social work themes. So right from 2007, they have been having a world with a difference, making a new world. Is the current world irreparable? Do we need a new world? What is it about?
Yes, perhaps it indicates that we experience a social decay. We now observe some kind of a rotten society. whether there is a crisis in values, crisis in culture, crisis in ethics, crisis in living together, because so much of social divide, religious divide, communal divide, regional divide, linguistic divides, and so many other divides. So a divided world needs to be bonded together, and I think this is what is required, that we have to build a new world order, new social order, new economic order, and where, say for example, when we say the new economic order, that means at least everyone must have a livelihood security. One must have as much as he or she can live happily, lead his or her life happily, support his or her family nicely. So that is what is required about new economics, because new economics not about piling up the resources, piling up capital, piling up wealth, piling up all income sources in few hands. And my teacher used to say that we need an egalitarian society.
Right.
And when I studied social work, it was around 81 to 85, and almost 4 decades have passed. So the issue is that we are raking on the same issues still, because that means on the egalitarianism part we have not moved. On equality or equity we have not moved anything. So that is, I think, perpetual kind of problem that we are inheriting for our profession.
And that we can see in the themes too.
Yeah.
If we need a similar theme each year, that means it's not that easy to reach the final
Yeah,
goal.
therefore it means we need to move, but we are not moving.
Okay, I have some data with me about eco-social world. So how is the economic and the social world unequal? And we'll also put it in the video. So in India specifically, the top 10% of the population earns 57% of the national income.
Yeah.
And India is among the most unequal countries according to the findings of World Inequality Report.
Yeah.
Within the top 10%, the very elite top 1% earns 22%.
Yeah.
So that is a huge gap
Huge
in
gap.
terms
Huge
of
gap.
economics.
Huge gap.
Even if we talk about social gaps, we see that there is still wage inequality among genders. There is still caste-based discrimination, and 47% more than the national average annual household income is earned by the upper caste households. That
Yeah.
is what the data tells.
Yeah.
So again, the same thing, that we have a long way forward.
This warrants a social policy framework so that there is equity in the society.
Right.
So that everyone has a fair share of the national income, of the national wealth, or to say national assets. And that is what was 50 years or 100 years or 500 years ago, and that is even today. That we have a huge gap into the resources and income and wealth and all that. There are people who roam with a personal helicopter or personal aeroplane, or there are the people who don't have even cycle. So I think this kind of society is not needed. What is needed is at least bare minimum should be fixed, and that should be possessed by everyone. And the goal of social policy and the goal of governance should be that at least everyone has enough to lead a happy life.